At just 39 years old, while walking toward the podium to give a speech in a hall in Harlem, gunshots suddenly ring out, and only a few seconds later he collapses to the floor, right in front of his wife and daughters. The strange part is, the people who pulled the trigger were not white, but the very people he had defended for years. Before we get to that moment, let's go back to the very beginning of the story, to a small two-room house in Nebraska. Because to understand why Malcolm X was destroyed in such a ruthless way, you first have to understand Malcolm Little's struggle through life. And today, you will relive his life story through his own eyes. Welcome to Muslim POV. In 1925, you open your eyes in an atmosphere filled with hatred. You are 4 years old now, and your very first memory is the smell of smoke. Your father, Earl Little, is a Baptist preacher and a member of the Black nationalist movement. Because he stands on street corners in Michigan telling people that Black Americans deserve more than what America has given them, he starts attracting attention. One night, 2 men from the Ku Klux Klan set your house on fire. The whole family stands outside in the yard watching the house burn down. The fire department arrives, but not to put out your home, only to stop the flames from spreading to white neighborhoods nearby. And so, at only 4 years old, you begin to realize that something is deeply wrong. You just do not yet have the words to explain it. You are 6 years old when the news comes that your father is dead. The official report says he was hit by a streetcar. First, they call it an accident, but later, when the insurance companies get involved, they decide he took his own life. That way, the insurance company does not have to pay anything. Your mother is left alone with no income, trying to care for you and your 7 siblings. Because you are only 6 years old, you cannot fully understand the truth. But what really happened is this. Your father was murdered by racists, and his body was thrown onto the tracks. Your mother, Louise, is an educated and proud woman, but under the crushing weight of everything that has happened, and the system designed to break her, both her body and spirit begin to collapse. You are 13 years old when the state of Michigan decides that your mother is no longer fit to care for her children. After that, they place her in a mental institution where she will remain for the next 26 years. She is not insane. She is simply exhausted and poor. She is a Black woman in 1930s America. Despite everything, you keep going to school. You're the smartest kid in the class, the only Black student in the school. Smart, funny, the kind of student teachers do not easily forget. One day, your English teacher asks what you want to become when you grow up, and you answer, a lawyer. The teacher calmly and confidently replies, Malcolm, that is not a realistic goal for a Black boy. You should think about jobs you can actually do, something like carpentry. You're pretty good with your hands too. The classroom falls silent, and in that moment, something inside you closes off. You feel the doors you once dreamed about slam shut in your face, and quietly, you sit back down. You do not cry, but that moment will become the beginning of something else. It was not your father's death, nor your mother being sent away to a mental institution. That truly broke you. It was that moment in the classroom when the system finally revealed its real face to you. You drop out of school and move to Boston. You get involved in illegal activities. On the surface, it looks like you're making money. Sharp suits, hair stiffened with pomade. Then you move to Harlem. In the Harlem of the 1940s, the most powerful men you know are criminals. They drive beautiful cars. They are respected. When the legitimate world told you no at 13 years old, you decided to build your own world instead. But eventually, that world starts collapsing too. You are 20 years old when you are arrested for burglary. The judge looks at you with cold arrogance and sentences you to 8 to 10 years in prison. You know white men who received lighter punishments for even worse crimes. But you are not surprised. There is no anger left inside you, only exhaustion. In the end, you are sent to state prison. And strangely, in the place everyone calls the worst possible place, everything finally begins for you. The most important moment in Malcolm X's life did not happen on a stage, on a television program, or inside a mosque. It happened alone, inside a prison cell. Subscribe, leave a like on the video, and support the channel, because in just a moment, you are about to witness Malcolm Little's transformation. Your brother comes to visit you and tells you about a man named Elijah Muhammad and a movement called the Nation of Islam. He says that the white man is a devil and that Black people are the original people of the earth. You are not fully convinced about everything you hear, but you make one important decision in your life: to read. First, you begin with a dictionary, reading word by word, building your vocabulary. History, philosophy, physics, whatever exists in the prison library, you read it. And slowly, like a man waking up from a deep sleep, the veil over your eyes begins to lift. You remember what happened with your teacher back at school. Be a carpenter, Malcolm, that's more realistic. And for the first time, instead of shame, you feel something different, anger. But this time, it is anger with a purpose, anger with a direction. You choose Islam and stop eating pork. You perform your prayers and take on a new name. You are now a completely different person. You abandon the surname Little, the name passed down by the white man who once owned your ancestors, and replace it with an X. The year is 1952, and you finally step outside prison walls again. You entered prison as Malcolm Little, but you leave as Malcolm X. And here's the part documentaries rarely show you. Malcolm X did not simply become famous, he became a figure who defended the rights of the weak. Under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad, you become one of the most influential men in the Nation of Islam. When you speak, your words are sharp and uncompromising. They are the kinds of things that half of Black America is thinking, but does not dare to say out loud. You catch the attention of the FBI. They begin watching you, keeping thousands of pages of reports about you. While many Black Americans support you, others believe you're going too far. Yes, you have now become the most dangerous man in America, not because you carry a weapon, but because you make people think. For 12 years, you serve Elijah Muhammad, preaching his message everywhere you go. But eventually, you and Elijah Muhammad begin to clash because you learn about his illegitimate relationships. And when you confront him about it, you hear him say, "Great men have great weaknesses." It is not an answer that satisfies you, and you walk away with disappointment in your heart. Then, after President Kennedy is assassinated, you make a statement you will regret for the rest of your life. The chickens have come home to roost. Elijah Muhammad uses that moment as an excuse to silence you for 90 days. Your heart breaks. The mistakes Elijah Muhammad made only make everything worse. And in March 1964, you leave the Nation of Islam. The bodyguards are gone. The crowded meetings are over. You are alone now. Soon, death threats begin arriving from the very organization you helped build with your own hands. You're 38 years old, and once again, you are forced to start everything from zero. If you still have not subscribed to the channel, hit that button and subscribe now, because what happens next is what made Malcolm X more than just a symbol. In April of 1964, you travel to Mecca to perform Hajj, and what you find there, what you witness with your own eyes, completely overturns everything you thought you knew about race, Islam, and brotherhood. You pray shoulder to shoulder with blue-eyed, blonde-haired white men and eat from the same plate together. You, the man who spent 12 years calling the white man a devil, are now witnessing brotherhood between white men and Black Africans side by side. And once again, you feel something changing inside your chest, just like what happened to you years earlier in prison. But this time, it is very different. You do not forget what was done to your father, or how they threw your mother into a hospital. But now you begin to believe that racism itself is the disease, not whiteness. You return from Mecca as a changed man. You begin building something new. Your first move is founding the Organization of Afro-American Unity, together with the people who still believe in you. Meanwhile, the death threats grow even more intense. On February 14th, 1965, your house is bombed. You manage to get your wife and children out just in time. You are not afraid, but you are deeply exhausted. In fact, during interviews, you openly say that you already feel like a dead man, that you probably will not live to see the end of the year. And then, that day finally comes. 1 week later, on February 21st, 1965, while 400 people wait excitedly for Malcolm inside the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem, the sound of gunfire suddenly erupts. Right there at the podium, in front of his family's eyes, Malcolm gives up his soul. If you made it this far, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And do not forget to share in the comments how Malcolm X's story made you feel and which moment impacted you the most. See you in the next video.
I don't worry. I tell you, I'm a man who believed that I died 20 years ago. And I live like a man who's dead already. I have no fear whatsoever of anybody or anything.